the next.
Okay, good evening. It's 6 p.m. on Monday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, but we are meeting anyway. This is the Town of Newfane Selectboard, our regular meeting, and we have Mike Fitzpatrick, Chris Williams, Shelley Huber, Angela Sanborn is absent tonight. I'm Marion Dowling, and we have Winetta Powling. Also present are the treasurer, road, foreman, and some scheduled members of the public. Thank you. Are there any additions or amendments to the agenda? No. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to approve the minutes of March 18th.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll
Any
second it.
Okay. Any discussion on
I'm
that?
gonna abstain because I haven't read them. I don't know what they are.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, the minutes pass. And we move to the road foreman and road commissioner's report. And that's Jerry Wilson to start, please.
Marion,
Yes.
we've got another minute. It's on the liquor control board.
From March 18th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do we get? It's not on the agenda, let me see.
No, it's just minutes from now.
I just got.
No, I know, but I don't see it.
Right here.
Oh, it's... Oh, here, okay. So we also had the Town of Newfane Board of Liquor Control meeting minutes. Is there a
Make a
motion
motion
to
to
approve
approve
the minutes,
I'll
please?
second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes pass. Thank you, Chris, for pointing that out. Now, we're on to Road Foreman Jay Wilson's report, please.
Okay. We have an old sander from 3 years ago, I believe, two or 3 years ago that we don't use anymore. Just wanted to know if you guys were interested in selling it. We tried to put it out to bid when we first sold that truck, and we didn't have any interest. So it's sitting there, not doing us any good, and just interested to see if you're interested in selling it.
Does it work?
No,
It would if somebody wants to.
No, it's all rusted.
it's sat there too many years. Everything would have to be new inside it, basically.
Yeah, there's one guy that's interested in buying it, so that's why we brought it back up. And like I said, we put it out to bids once and didn't get no bids, so. And he's offered some money.
Do you want to continue with the report?
I just didn't know if you guys, how you wanted to deal with that, so if you want to talk about it when we're done.
My question is how much has he offered?
He's offered 500.
500?
No, it's worth more than that, because it's stainless steel.
Oh,
But probably around 800 or so.
up to 800.
That's what I wouldn't pay more than that for it.
Stainless steel though.
What it is a sander goes in the back of the dump truck, and it's got its central hydraulics on your trucks. And then a lot of your little sanders, like you go into pickups, they got their own little motor and runs the whole thing.
Yeah,
This thing's got quick couplings that have to be hooked up to the truck that's got the pump and stuff on it.
yeah.
So if anybody uses it, they either gotta have that set up or put another motor and stuff on it. So,
Is that something, you want to write something up about it?
I don't know, we tried to find values, we found them all over the place, so at this point, it's sat there long enough, you know, whatever we can get out of it would be good, move it out of our
Does
way.
it work, you post it?
I think, don't we have to, if anything, we're selling anything, we have to have it.
Well, that's what I'm asking, what's the procedure, do we post it?
well, you can put it back out and see if anybody puts a bid in on it, and
Okay.
if it comes in or whatever, then you sell it.
If you could write up a description,
Okay.
that would be great.
All right.
Okay.
we had the initial meeting with the state and Marble Valley Engineering for the Depot Road box culvert last week. The earliest we could do the culvert would be summer of 2020 if everything goes really well, but the guy wasn't terribly optimistic that would happen, but it's a slow process. And then we have the initial meeting for the sand salt shed grant tomorrow, April 2nd. I got pricing for the white lines on the class 2 roads. It's $9,825 from L&D Safety Marking and $7,368 from Poirier Line Marking, that's the company we used last year, or last time we did it a few years ago. Both of them can either do it early or not till fall. We have 6,300, I think it was, in traffic safety. Left in the budget for this year. Otherwise, if we have to wait for the new budget, they wouldn't get it done until October or whatever. So it's,
No sense of doing it then.
Are we obligated to do it?
yeah, the state wants, if you don't do the white lines now, you have to submit why they aren't getting done. I think it has a lot to do with all the new cars having the,
Right.
The
I know
line
you're
stuff,
saying that,
yeah.
yeah.
and it does work well on foggy nights and stuff for people to see the sides of the
So
road.
how is that gonna affect signage for the traffic?
We have a
light?
signage budget too.
We have a separate signage
Yeah.
budget?
Yeah.
So this is just for marking lines?
Marking lines, and that's where we bought the radar thing from.
Oh, okay.
Is under that.
Okay, I have a budget here somewhere.
So how much was it?
The low bid, which is actually the company we worked with before, was $73.68.
So it's about $1,000 off.
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna do them, I think we pay to do it sooner than later.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're all done through the summer.
That's what I would think, yeah.
So I think I recommend hiring a company to do it.
Okay, any second?
I'll
Any
second.
motion? Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
And we have a proposal for the engineering for the Kenny Pond Dam from Bell Engineering. We're right now looking for grants because we don't have anywhere near enough money to fix that. So I've reached out to the dam inspector and Mark Pickering and just seeing if there's any money out there that would help us with that one.
How much is that project going to cost?
Right now, it looks like about 40,000.
But he was gonna break down some figures too, right?
He came up
That's
with.
part of his bid and stuff.
He came up with, I forgot how many cubic yards of material to do it, but Mark estimated from that. And we came up with his engineering somewhere in the neighborhood of 40.
Can it be done in stages at all?
No,
No.
so if there's no grant money, then we'll have to put it off until, whenever, but.
Do you have it put in the budget for next year at all?
We added, I think 5,000 more. We had no idea of cost.
Yeah.
You got 15, don't you?
Now we've got 15, yep. So we're still short 25.
So you'll let us know if you find any grants?
Yep. And the only other thing that's not on there, I was just looking for permission to have one to put out the roadside mowing bid for this coming
For our
summer.
next meeting.
I'll make a motion to do that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Now, with Bella, have we already hired him or we gotta hire him?
He did that just as a proposal,
Right.
but we'd have to hire him if we get further into it. And he offered to come out and actually look at the site over and so forth. I figured that should wait till the snow's gone before you really see what it looks like.
Excuse me. One thing on the roadside mowing, we want it done sooner than later this
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
I don't like waiting too late. the signs get covered up and everything.
Well, it has to wait till after July for the money, but
Right, well,
towards the end of July or something like that.
yeah. Middle of July,
Yeah,
be very good.
Right.
versus fall.
All right, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
I was just thinking.
I was just gonna
No,
ask
it's
if you
good.
have anything to add. We do have excavator bids right now, is that correct? Is there anything else about Jay's report before we do the excavator bid? Motion to accept, please. Is there a motion to accept his report?
I accept it.
That's very nice of you.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Jay, and thank you, Chris. So we do have excavator bids here. Are there three or four? This is the fourth one?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Would you like to open one or read it?
I'll let you read it, because I probably won't be able to talk, but I'll open it.
Well, Mike, you want to read it?
I mean, like that, or you
We'll
got-
pass them around.
I'm just gonna open it. Want me to open it?
Sure.
And you can read it. Bring it
Oh,
down.
fancy. This is what my father would do. I just rip up the thumbs.
Oh, yeah.
No.
There you are, sir.
And this one here is from Chapel Tractor. Now we're by Milford, New Hampshire. And it's with the excavator, the digging bucket, ditching bucket, and mowing head. And it comes out to $227,750.
Say the name again, please.
Chapel Tractor.
Chapel.
What breed is that, John Deere?
That's a Hyundai.
Hyundai?
It's a 140 wheeled excavator. I figure we can open them up and then go through them, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get the prices and then go through it.
You want to just put them here? You want to read the next one?
You do one.
You want to read it?
No,
Okay.
I'll lose my voice about halfway through it.
Okay, can you cut? You'll be the cutter. You'll be the opener.
You don't know they get in it.
This bid is from Nortrax. And the make of the unit bid is John Deere. The model unit bid is 196W. The year of unit bid is 2019. The purchase price is $289,500. $289,500. And 7-year upfront annual lease payment would be $46,810.26.
That was my question. Aren't we looking at these for leasing, not for purchase?
That's a purchase.
Well, right now, we've got rental in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're looking to purchase one, I think it is.
Yeah,
That's what they're giving the price on is if you bought it. But, yeah, well, as I said, go through them all,
Yeah.
go through them and, but right now in the budget, it's rental, right?
well,
It's a lease, yeah.
Lease.
Yeah.
You wanna open it?
Is it, I thought we only had like 30 some odd thousand,
32.
32,000,
I
right?
think the John Deere's a pretty good sized machine, that one, so. It's a lot better than the other, right?
Okay.
Oh, boy. Another one. feel like it's Christmas morning. Okay. Looks like there's two. So this is from Wood CRW Corporation. The Volvo, and it's a model of the unit is a EWR 150E. The year of the unit bid is a 2019, and the purchase price is $192,400, and a 10-year upfront annual lease payment 1/3 POC fee is $395. But for the 10-year upfront annual lease payment would be $22,993.47. And for the second one, Volvo, and it's ERW 150E with a steel wrist, and the year of the unit is 2019. Purchase price is $213,050, and a 10-year upfront annual lease payment is looks like $25,456.27 with a one-time dock fee of $395. That's what it is, a dock fee.
Yeah, that's
The documentation fee.
Michael,
Now we want a Volvo.
Yeah.
This is a Caterpillar one. We're doing two bids too.
What's the name of the company?
Mountain Cat. And the purchase price is $236, and the lease is a $29,202, 10-year. And the next one, that's a 14. There was another one. 14. One was an 18, 2018. Now it's a 2019, it's $246,000 with a $30,438 lease.
What was the lease? I'm sorry, Bill. How much was on the lease?
$30,438.
okay,
10 years.
before we start deciding things, let's just review our purchasing policy for purchase or leasing. And it is, purchasing policy seems to be for equipment that it would be, if they're comparable, that it would be the least amount of money spent. Is that correct? Yes, we have a
No.
purchasing policy.
No, not necessarily the
If
cheapest.
they're all comparable?
Yeah, but we don't need to buy the cheapest thing we can get. You
No,
don't
not
need
the,
to buy-
no, not the cheapest thing, the least expensive. Let's look at the
different.
different policy for a minute.
And can we have further discussion about purchasing versus leasing?
I mean, I think what we're gonna do anyways is this right now is Jay take it back and compare everything, make sure it's apples to apples.
Right,
Yes.
that's what we have to do.
And then,
Yes.
our next meeting, we'll go
Exactly.
over it more, and
Right.
see what we are. We got, open the bids, we know right now the Volvo's the cheapest one,
Okay,
or an inexpensive one.
yeah, I don't mean cheap, the least
But
expensive.
you want to just make sure they all had the mowing heads,
Yeah.
the ditching buckets and whatever else. And
The warranty.
So we need to, Jay needs to, with Chris, look at each item, make sure that they all are comparable for the lease, for purchase, and
The
then we're doing the
specifications.
same, yes,
Yeah.
we're doing the same for the leasing. So then, Jay, do you have any, I know that you were concerned that you wanted to do this pretty soon. Do you have a deadline with any of these?
No, just this, like all of them, it's gonna take them a little bit to get the machine set up the way we've specified it, so just the sooner we do it. It'll take us a few days to go through them, and then we may wanna run and look at a couple of those that we haven't seen before. So it'll be probably a week before we're ready anyways.
I mean, I think the one you put there right now is no sense. That's a 190, that's a lot bigger machine than what we were looking
Right.
for.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna give them all
Yeah,
to Jay.
that's really bad.
Where was that small envelope? Mike, you have that envelope before? The first one that was open, yeah. Thank you. Do me a favor and put this back in, if you
Huh?
can. Can you put this back in? This is, no.
I don't think they really need the envelope. I mean, it's all
Yeah,
paperwork
okay,
inside.
all right. Thank you.
It's all
Okay.
there.
I mean, the Volvo's the police spec too, right? I mean, so kind of go to and check that all out. They're a good machine, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't say that.
I don't know if they go through all of them.
Hospital's probably a whole load.
Okay, are there any further questions or discussion about the bids that we presented? So
Well,
we
like, you know, like I said, I've had a couple of people come up to me and they really don't want us to buy equipment, this equipment. And there's a big concern about, you know, purchasing. We just purchased a truck, now we're looking at purchasing an excavator. And also, the work that was done last year was kind of left roads a mess. There's a lot of brush left over. This is from someone telling me. And the ditching wasn't done. It made the road a mess. So, you know, I don't know who did what or whatever, but I'm just reporting. So the question is whether or not that we're going to purchase it or whether we're going to lease it. And there's other select boards that are looking at sharing equipment with other towns because the costs are so astronomical.
Well, I think what we're saying right now is Jay's gonna go through all the bids. And we'll have more information when he comes back. You have any comments?
Yeah, I got a comment on what
Okay.
she said.
Yes.
The reason things were left a mess is we didn't have a machine when we needed it. We fooled around and didn't get anything, and then all of a sudden winter was here. That's why things were left a mess.
Well, I mean, it wasn't my complaint, it's just somebody who told me, you know, and so it's
Well,
good.
it is true. I mean, I've heard a lot of, you know, not so much about the brush thing, but I mean, about buying a new excavator. I mean, you got that no matter what you got. Everybody's clearing on about the school taxes going so high and you keep purchasing. I mean, what I think we ought to do anyways, when it comes time to it, we do decide to look at this. I think we should put it back up, you know, get a town vote and buy it. You know, because right now we're leasing it. What happens if the new board comes on here in another year or two and they say we ain't gonna lease it no more? Now, are we stuck for that 10 years or we just turn it back?
It's a 1-year lease.
It's year by year.
Yeah, so that, the reason towns do it is so that if they have a year they don't get funded, they're not on the hook for it.
Because I mean, it's put right on the thing, it's either a 9 or a 7-year lease. So that's what I'm wondering, if you're signing a thing for 10 years or 9 years, you're obligated to that thing for
Well,
9
at least the lease we had last year from CAT was Any year that you don't get funded is the end of it. You can just return it and that's it.
I have to look at the lease. Did they send these?
Only when you get far enough into it to, they'll do the whole lease document.
So really about picking a piece of equipment and then looking at the lease?
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing, what I'm really looking at too, like town borrows money pretty cheap. I mean, you take that one, the cat, like the one that I know for like a 10-year thing, at almost $31,000 a year. Yeah, that's $310,000 on a $236,000 ministry, so you're looking at almost $80,000 in interest.
Yeah, leasing is.
Yeah, I mean, compared to town, I borrowed it at 2%. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so it might be smart if we decide we're gonna buy it, just like you would a truck, and then go back and get, just have a special meeting to purchase the unit, right? I mean, because it sounds to me like they're getting pretty good interest by charging your rent. Yeah, because now you're up to 300 and something thousand.
Well, and the other thing is, what if we did buy it and then we leased it out to other towns to use?
I'm not so fond of
No,
No,
that's
I
a no good.
I'm not really
Who's gonna
fond
be
of.
responsible if something happened?
Well, I don't
I think
think,
that's-
I'm
Well,
not
they
all
would
about
be,
doing.
they would carry insurance.
I'm not so good about share. I don't like doing that. I mean, the way I look at it, you can't handle it yourself. There's companies out there that can come in and do it for you. Next thing you know, this one's saying, "Well, you've done more for me. I did more for you, and you've done for me." And pretty quick, it's a pissing match, I think if you got work you got to get rid of, hire somebody to do it if you can't do it ourselves,
But I think we have to look at what the time involved in it, how much it's gonna take to do all that work, and roads have to be attended to, and
Well,
Well,
there's definitely
right-
a lot of work to be done, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, right now, let's stick with just Jay doing the first step.
you asked if we were having a discussion, if anyone had a
No,
discussion.
I know, but we're going way over. I mean, we're sticking to the purchase policy now. Because otherwise, this is
Okay.
a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
So, yes, Pete?
Stick my nose in where it doesn't belong, but my recommendation would be a motion to take these bids under advisement, and then you can answer all these questions as you
Yes.
do that.
Thank you, okay. Does anybody want to make a motion as to what Jay,
You
Pete
just
says?
I'll second it.
Okay, okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, thank you, Pete. Okay. So Jay, thank you very much for your report. And we're moving on to administrative assistant report, and that would be Winetta.
There's been a couple of complaints about dumping trash at the gravel pit area on the Dover Road. There was one earlier this week that I got a phone message, and one person came in and had actually looked at some of the contents, and nothing was identified. So I didn't know if there was something that we could do as far as monitoring that area. Half of the appointment letters of acceptance have come back. We're still missing about 45%. I received a letter from Mr. Van Loon. He is actually interested in the Newfane Development Review Board and taking on that responsibility.
Is it the Newfane or Wyndham Regional Commission?
It's the Development Review Board.
Okay.
My understanding, you have it open.
We do.
It just says Wyndham Regional in your notes there, I was just wondering.
Just on your report, it says Wyndham Region.
It's a town board.
Yeah, Wyndham Regional Board, yeah.
But
No,
Development
Oh.
Review Board is the.
DRB.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're
Here's
just
appeals up.
confused because it says something different on our paper.
Can you read,
Oh, no. The other part of the note is he is on the review, the Wyndham Regional Commission, and
Okay,
there is a vacancy there as well.
No. Yeah.
What
And-
Pete
and
is saying,
he-
what he's saying is, or letting us know that there's still a vacancy on the Wyndham Regional Commission. And the other thing is, Pete is interested in being on the DRB, is that correct? So it's two
Yeah,
different issues.
What I was trying to say in that sentence was that I get into a lot of planning and zoning in my work as a commissioner
Yes.
at Wyndham Regional, in addition to the planning and zoning and so forth that I have done for the town in the past.
But right now, we're going to stay with the fact that you would like to be on the DRB.
That's it.
So does anybody make a motion,
I make a
please?
motion, everyone.
Second,
Okay. Any discussion? No. All those in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Aye. Okay, Pete, you're on the DRB. Yay, thank you.
And there's still a vacancy on the Wyndham
Wyndham
Regional.
Commission. Okay, thank you so much, Pete,
We are
for
looking
coming
for
and
someone.
offering your help. I'm sure everybody will be thrilled to have you participate. Okay, go ahead. Juanetta?
I was also looking to see if there was contact made with the Brattleboro Reformer regarding doing a press release for the other vacancies.
Oh, that would be Shelley. to
No, I
answer
haven't
that
done it
question.
yet.
Okay.
No, okay.
Is that something that you want me to make contact with, or
That
just
would be
wait?
great.
Okay,
I'm a little overwhelmed right now.
I can do that.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, Juanetta, for offering.
Jay and I have a meeting this Friday with Mott Trans regarding
It's the annual
the audit.
highway city
Yeah.
audit or whatever
Right.
for the town.
And then April 15th will be my 60th day on the job. And I just want to thank everybody for helping me feel comfortable and settling into the responsibilities.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think at that point, we also have to think about doing a review for you,
And
right?
90 days.
At 90 days.
Yeah, but I think it was something about, something written that you have to have 30 days notice or something.
I'll let you know on the next meeting.
No, 90
that
days.
between
90
the,
days.
Yeah, 30 days before the 90 days.
Doing what?
Being notified that she needs to have a review done.
Well, she is notifying us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'll remind you next meeting too.
I'm just making a statement.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions or comments about Juanetta's report? Somebody make a motion, please, to
I make
accept.
a motion to accept it.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Okay, aye. And so your report's accepted. Thank you, Juanetta.
Thank
And
you.
you have a little announcement to make, a little personal announcement that we could be very happy to. Could you say?
Thank you. On Friday evening, my daughter gave birth to my first grandchild.
Yay.
Thank you.
Congratulations. That's so wonderful.
Little girl.
Beautiful little baby. Thanks. Okay,
And then we also have Melissa here to answer the questions from the last meeting regarding the funds on the
yes,
accounts that we have.
okay, so, Melissa, would you like to take over and
Okay.
take that, please?
All right, so the first one we got is the Village Tree Fund. That actually started back in 1997. There's no committee right now.
used to be.
Yep, there used to be, and they're actually going to try and get that going again. But they're not gonna be doing any plantings this year, so it won't be till next year, spring, maybe summertime. So he said the money that's in that fund, that was Bill Gunther and John Spicer, who I've been talking to.
Right.
And they said, go ahead and lock the money up, put it in CD, try and get what you can for interest on it, which isn't still anything that great, but anything helps. Okay, ready for the next one, or?
Yes.
Okay. Fred Adams Cemetery Fund, he died in 1939. The trust started in 1940. I have no idea where the main paperwork is for that. So at this point, we just have to leave it in there. Anything, there was $500 donated. Anything above $500 for interest or any kind of earnings gets paid out to the Williamsville Cemetery. Jesse Anderson is the treasurer. He said it's not enough money to keep cutting checks every year. He said just do what you can, lock it up, get as much interest as you can.
Okay.
And at some point, we'll just reconnect again and, you know, I'll pay him anything above the $500 that he needs or wants. Monument Upkeep Fund, that's another one that started in 1977. And that's basically just to maintain all the monuments up on the Williamsville, or not the Williamsville, the Newfane Village.
The old Newfane Common? The old Newfane Common on the hill or
No,
here?
the Newfane
Oh, right
Village
here.
right up here.
Okay.
And then we just have the capital fund,
Mhm.
which that's just a small portion of it. I can't obviously lock up everything in that one. So that's
So do you
kind
want
of a
to
portion.
explain why you actually looked this up? Because Winetta brought something up at our last meeting and we asked you to be here to explain it more.
Oh, well, I was trying to move them out of River Valley Credit Union because the interest rate's only 0.20 right now, whereas Brattleboro Savings is 2.15%. Just trying to gain interest on something, make it more profitable.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for researching and getting answers to the questions that were posed to you last time we met.
Sure.
And so basically, I think right now we just have to decide if it's appropriate to switch banks where we can get more interest. So does anybody want to say
It's
something?
not
about-
really, it's not a checking account that you're moving it to, right? You're moving it into a CD.
Yeah, but it's more.
13-month CDs.
So if you move the money into the CD, it's like you say, locked up for 13 months?
You can take it out, but you won't gain the interest.
Okay.
So,
You can take it out, but you won't get any interest
It would be equivalent to 3 months' worth of interest as a penalty.
as a penalty. Okay. And how much is in the capital fund?
well, just the portion that I'm going to move, or would like to move, $51,596.85.
So that capital fund is for major purchases?
Well, a lot of this capital fund right now we have in reserve. You know, for the replacement plan.
Right. For equipment?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So we won't be needing that within a year. And then the reappraisal fund is $28,991.17.
okay.
That one there, I've also spoke to them, they do not need that within the next year. We do have more money coming in this month from the state for the reappraisal fund, so that'll carry us over for another year.
Uh-huh.
So basically, all the funds we're talking about, we don't need that within the next year anyway.
Well, next
And
year.
so that's why you were thinking of moving this so that it would get more interest.
Right. The only thing, the lowest they have right now is 13 months. They don't have like a 12-month.
Okay,
They don't have a year and a half. They only got 13 months
yeah.
for some reason.
So I think we should make a motion or make a decision about this, because it's the second it's been
Can I
brought
just,
up.
I have another question. With the capital fund, is that money that we would be using for the lease at all?
No.
That's a separate fund?
I have more money in the general fund for the capital. The capital fund has approximately 300,000 in it,
Okay.
so. I'm
And this
only
is
taking-
just, this is not a capital, this is for new purchases, this capital fund?
Well, it's for like the arch bridge and stuff like that, if we need it too, we put some in there for
Put
each year.
something in the fund.
Yeah.
That's not gonna be done for at least another 3-4 years.
Right. It's like our savings account for big purchases and big projects.
So we come up with our 10 or 15 or 20% of it when it comes time.
Okay.
Any other discussion about this? Would somebody make a motion?
I'll make a motion to switch it around.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. and there's no opposition. So I thank both of you for researching this and realizing that it is probably for the town's best interest to get our funds into a place where it gets more interest. So thank you very much, Winetta, and to Melissa. And when will you take care of this?
Earlier this week.
Yeah,
Pretty
this
soon.
week, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks so much. Okay. And thank you, Melissa, for being here tonight. Okay, we're moving on to scheduled members of the public, and we have Chloe Learey, who is Executive Director of Winston Prouty. And thank you so much for being here tonight and sitting through this time with us.
That's interesting. Thank you so much for having me. I am the Executive Director of the Winston Prouty Center. I'm also a member of Child Care Counts Coalition. We're a group of people who are hoping to sustain and increase child care capacity in Windham County. And the reason, so it's April 1st, and April is the month that we celebrate the month of the young child in Windham County, and just try to raise awareness about all the things in our community that impacts young children and why we might want to care. Some people, what we've realized in the coalition is that some people are not aware of how childcare impacts them. They think, well, I had kids a long time ago, or it's not an issue I'm interested in, but we feel like it's really important for people to understand why it's such an intricate part of our communities and so integral to us being a vibrant state, region and state. So in addition to Month of the Young Child being an instigator, I don't know if some of you are aware, there was a program in Brookline, Sunny Lane Daycare, which was a couple months ago was about to close. There were 52 families who are going to be impacted by that closing. That was a mix of child care and after school care.
Right.
And so I think that that's a great highlight, especially for this community, to realize in this sector, if something happens to a childcare business, it has a ripple effect beyond what many people might think is important. So with Sunny Lane, if you think about not only as a business closing, so you're losing a business that purchases goods and services, but also allows other people and employs people, but allows other people to participate in the workforce as well. So if families lose their child care and then they can't participate, employers suffer because their workforce is not as productive or calling in or has to leave their jobs, which actually happens. And also people who are working might not be able to pay their taxes or get behind on their rent or their mortgage. So there's this ripple effect of economic development that I think a lot of people don't draw the lines or make connections about. So the coalition is just wanting to realize that this was an opportunity to raise awareness during the Month of the Young Child, for people to think, oh, how does this happen in our community? What's the impact? And when we think about economic development and childcare, it's sort of a two-generational approach. So we're making it possible for people to participate in the workforce, but also growing our future workforce. So children, I don't know if you've sort of heard that brain development or the brain science, 80% of the brain is developed by age 3, and 90% by age 5, before kids even get to kindergarten. So all of those skills for participating in town government, or being able to work or play nice on a team or self-regulate, all of those things happen in early childhood. So it's sort of building our future workforce too. So just being aware of, in this community, in Newfane, there's one licensed center, Tempson Hill Preschool. I actually, some of you may know Sandy Stark. She is on the board of Tempson Hill. She lives in the community, and she's also the Parent-Child Center Coordinator for Early Education Services. So she was going to be here tonight, so you sort of could put a face with the name, but she doesn't feel well. So, but she's somebody just as a resource to you all to be, as you think about these issues. So Tempson Hill is here, Sunny Lane's nearby. There are a couple pre-K programs. There's a home, somebody who provides services out of their home in Jamaica. Some people might go to Mount Snow, but this is the West River Valley, a little bit of a childcare desert, I would say, in terms of people either going to go to Brattleboro or, people make it work, but it's a lot of work. And when we think about why should we care, so we talked about economic development, there's also an issue of our aging demographic in Vermont. So when we think about how do we get young people to come to the state, do we want more young families in our communities? How are we going to make that happen? Childcare is a really important part of the infrastructure. And if we don't have robust, high-quality, accessible early childcare, early education, people aren't going to come, and we'll get, our state will age and get the graying of Vermont, and we'll have a whole other economic development issue. So those pieces are just, I think, wanting to get that on your radar and thinking about what, as a community, how are you investing? How could you support? What are some ideas? And just to sort of plant the seed that you might be aware of why actually paying attention to childcare is important. I have heard people say, kids should stay at home anyway, right? So it's like when I was young, my kids stayed at home. That is great if it can happen. It's not really a reality in this day and age. Lots of people, if there are two people in the household, you have to have a dual income to make things work. And a lot of people want to work. So I think having options is important. Some other people will say, well, you shouldn't have kids if you can't afford them. Okay, fair. And again, back to, do we want our communities to thrive and grow? So just some ways to think about why early childhood is an important thing for communities to be thinking about. Sort of my overall message, just sharing information so that as you hear about it, you have families in your community who suffer, employers who might be struggling with workforce issues, and it's just an important issue to be aware of. So I wanted to give you an overview of that. I'm gonna, is it okay to get up and hand you information?
You may get up.
I put together,
thank you.
put together a folder.
Thank you so much.
With some resources, and I'll just go through quickly just to tell you what's in it, and then at your leisure you can look. So childcare counts, we put together sort of their information about some families are eligible for financial assistance to help pay for childcare. So the Prouty Center actually is a resource to families if people need help finding childcare or paying for it. We can help with that. We did a survey last year about of employers and family members, and this is a summary of it, just talking about what's important and sort of what the highlights are. There's a sheet in here about what programs exist and where they are and how many slots. So I don't know if your granddaughter has childcare or not, or is on a waiting list anywhere, but you might want to think about that. And actually, I think, so Sunny Lane, Susie's Little Peanuts, took that business on, and I think it's doing well as far as I know. And I think there are some infant slots, just in case you, but often people are looking for infant care and it's not available, or it's really hard to find. So, and then some articles that I've written about the issue that might be informative, sort of summarizing or talking about some of the points I summarized. And then on the other side of the folder are some resources from an organization called Let's Grow Kids. And actually, just going to point out, Emily Wagner is here. She's part of the coalition and she works for Let's Grow Kids. And this is a group that's just working to raise awareness around the state. So we're sort of taking their information to the state and bringing it here. And there's some information about what the city of Burlington is doing for scholarships, for instance. There's information about Windham County and the child care crisis, or what we're dealing with. But the good news I want to share with you, and if you are so inclined, there's a bill that's moved out of committee in the House, H531, that's talking about expanding financial assistance for families to access child care and workforce development, because sometimes we can open a program, but we can't find any teachers. So we have a sort of a dual problem. So that's a bill that had many supporters, tripartisan, so progressives, Democrats, and Republicans. And our delegation was very supportive. So if you ever run into Emily Long or want to write a letter and say, thanks, Emily, for supporting this, or to Becca Ballant or Jeanette White, our whole delegation is pretty supportive. And that would be just letting them know that you care is one small thing to do. And if there's nothing in your town plan about childcare or anything like that, there are ways to sort of speak up and let people know if it is important to your community to keep growing and supporting our youngest citizens. Then that's something you can do. And then there's a calendar of activities for Month of the Young Child, in case you or anybody you know would like to access them. So just some resources. And if you have, the coalition, Child Care Counts Coalition we want to make ourselves available for anybody who might want to talk through ideas or get access to other ideas about, well, what could we do if we decide to tackle a project? So feel free to be in touch with me if that's something that interests you.
Do you
I have
also,
to, oh,
sorry.
I have to say that in a previous life of mine,
Uh-huh.
in the 1990s, I was, my title was Early Childhood Specialist in Brooklyn.
Oh,
And I traveled around, and just in one district. New York City had 32 districts at that time. And I was in District 19. We had 800 pre-K students
oh my gosh.
throughout the district, and I was itinerant, traveling around to, no, I wasn't the supervisor, but
Yeah.
I was under the supervisor. And I just thought at that time it was the most important thing. What was it? It just went out of my pre-Ks. Anyway, it was a major program that was throughout New York City, which really was so important. A lot of training for pre-kindergarten teachers, and it varied. The philosophy sometimes was that you shouldn't be teaching them anything at that time. You should just let them socialize. And then the other philosophy was to include teaching. So there were various
Yeah.
points of views, but it's such an important time of a child's life.
Yeah. Well, in early education, when we think about what's happening, everything is learning. So even eating a meal for a baby or 2-year-old,
Right.
they are learning by the way you talk to them and the way you interact with them. It's all learning. You kind of can't. It's all early education at that
Yeah.
age. So it's always teaching. So knowing, and that's what's important. I think about a high quality environment and being aware of the brain science is how important it is to take advantage of that time.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, because I, for one, am not that familiar with your institution of Winston Prouty. I've heard wonderful things about it, but I'm not that clear about it in terms of all the things that you do. So I appreciate you coming here, and I'm sure we all do. Is there anybody?
Yeah, I have a
Shall-
question. So if someone wanted to start a daycare, would they contact you?
They could, and then we could help them access resources to do that. So again, for instance, there was recently a grant through Let's Grow Kids called Make Way for Kids that was a startup for people who are interested in starting. There is a network called the Wyndham Early Childhood Educators Co-op. And that's a group of people who who work out of their homes, typically either they have a center in their homes or a home-based provider. They are great support, so connecting with them. Or even on the coalition, we have representatives from BDCC, Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation, who have access to grants and small business administration stuff. So we probably wouldn't necessarily do the direct coaching or mentoring or help, but would try to link them up with resources, absolutely.
That's great to know.
I think that's probably one of our best bets, especially in sort of outside of Brattleboro. It's a high cost thing to start a child care center. So if you think of Sunny Lane being in that building, and then the overhead costs, and the town was, I think, being supportive of that, but that's a cost benefit as well. So, for people who can make that work out of their homes and have that capacity, and if there's support, it's not a well-paying field, I will tell you that. People don't get into it so that they get rich. So if there are ways that we can support people to do it, as we continue to advocate for the resources, because that's really important, I think, to look at sort of all the pieces of the puzzle. I think there are small things you can do to help people start programs in their home.
Now, you talked about actually grants for people for childcare, assistance is
For
provided?
people who need help with paying tuition.
Paying, yeah.
Yes, so the state of Vermont has child care financial assistance. It's based on income levels, and part of the bill actually that's in the House right now is increasing access to that by increasing the eligibility. And so some people are eligible for 100% subsidy at a certain market rate, but then the provider might charge more, the early educator might charge more, but there is access. And that's that is something that Winston Prouty does, is helps people apply for that financial assistance.
Okay.
So, and if people are looking for childcare, that's childcare resource and referral. So this is you may have been familiar with Wyndham Child Care Association. It was they used to do all these. It was a nonprofit in Brattleboro that provided a lot of these services. We merged with them 2 years ago almost. So
Were they located up on Western Avenue?
They were located on Essie Street. In the same, in that one of the
building, the Birch, yeah.
So our Birch Street, SD Buildings Birch Street.
Yeah.
So, But all those services are available now through Winston Prouty. And so we have an early learning center of about 60 families, infant through age 5, and then we also do a whole bunch of community-based services, including some of these accessing resources, working with early intervention, working with families around mental health or family support. And we probably touch 600 families in the community in Windham County in the course of a year. So it's a really broad scope of services that we offer. And then we partner with a lot of other agencies in the region because we can't do it all, but helping people access what
And your campus is now at the Austin?
we're at the former Austin School, yeah.
Yeah.
So we purchased the campus and then have invited other people to be part of the campus.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's where we are. Okay.
Thank you so much, Chloe.
You're welcome.
Is there anybody in the audience that has a comment or question for Chloe?
Keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well,
Thank you so much
thanks
for
for
coming
letting me
here.
come. I appreciate
Yeah,
it. I'm gonna
anytime.
see you though.
Okay. Okay, we now are moving on to discussion about Williamsville Hall, and we have Steve Levine and Myra Fassler here,
And Jonathan Jewell.
and Jonathan Julian. Thank you, great trio.
He's hiding in the back. There he is. So, we have a number of issues to go over. Some are interrelated, so as much time as I have, I'll start. Some of it is very basic about cleaning, others get more complicated about the Rock River Players. Some of it is about the insurance, which is another whole song and dance, and then there's the dog show, which is relatively simple to go through. So I thought we could start with the cleaning. For instance, we just had the town meeting. We had approximately, probably between the people who attended the meeting and voters, we may have had 200 people in and out of the hall in mud season. Needless to say,
Oh, right.
the place is filthy. Needless to say, who's going to pay for cleaning it?
Right.
Which brings up a broader issue now that the hall is open year-round. We did, when we were open only 7 months, we had someone who came in and cleaned before the senior meal. But now the building's being used 12 months of the year. So what do we do? And the person who cleaned for senior meals basically cleaned the 4 bathrooms, the dining hall, the room next to it, and the lobby and the stairs. But now we have to clean the main hall as well. So one idea we've had is to get someone in once a month, and they would clean also before the senior meal, and they would clean the whole building. And perhaps we could split the fee when we find this magical person, mystical person, between the town and the hall committee. But that, and perhaps our fees to use the hall are really reasonable. So maybe we can raise it a little bit, maybe $25 each time to help pay for this cleaning. And that, involves monitoring who used the hall
Right.
and who, if they indeed cleaned it up. So the hall committee, we have to work more closely with Winetta and set up a system that was in effect a while ago that kind of fell by the wayside, where before anyone uses the hall, they have to meet and be shown the hall with either Winetta or a member of the committee and say, see, this is what you get, this is the condition it's in. We expect when you're done, this is what it's going to be like. If that's the case, then you'll get your security deposit back. We also know that when people rent the hall, unfortunately, they may leave it dirty, they may not take their garbage, but they may take things that don't belong to them. So the hall committee, one of our things we plan to get started with, we have a meeting coming up Wednesday, is to develop an inventory of all the important objects in the building. We're not, of course, we can't count every fork and spoon, but exceptional tables and chairs, things that stand out, pots and pans. I mean, it's amazing. Sometimes things show up that we didn't have before, but sometimes because people leave it. But more often than not, things are taken.
Disappear.
So that's all part of this, cleaning, maintenance, inventory, checking in and checking out. And once someone, either Winetta or a member of the hall committee says, okay, you know, contact Winetta, you can get your deposit back, or not, you know, if it's a $150 deposit, maybe you'll get back 100. But we need to, you know, codify this and get it set up so we can go forward. So the question sort of here is, you know, I talked to Nancy, Reese, who's in charge of senior meals, and I know she's no longer on the committee, but she's still willing to volunteer and maintain the senior meals, and she does a wonderful job doing that. She told me that when they have the person come in and clean for senior meals, they work from 3 to 4 hours. They clean the 4 bathrooms, they clean the dining hall, the ante room, and the kitchen, and the stairs in the lobby. And that, so if we added another hour, we could probably also get the main hall cleaned as well. So if the board wanted to consider splitting that between the donation fund and the town, you know, the operating expense fund, then we can, on an ongoing basis, once a month, get the hall cleaned.
Steve, I just sat down on my computer this afternoon. This is just purely a sample, an idea. But looking through your policy, I thought it might be helpful when somebody comes in and signs a contract for using it, that there would be an extra sheet with a list of things that have to be checked off.
Right.
Separate from the policy. I mean, I took the ideas from the policy, but I made a separate sheet where it would be a checklist and,
Does he have a separate policy sheet? Do you have a?
yeah, they do.
We have a whole,
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
whole use policy.
Where there would be a checklist of all the things you want, and then they have to sign it with the date, and then they hand this in with Winetta. So it's, I'm gonna give it to you, it's just something as a sample that we might wanna consider.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's something we were going to develop, a checklist for,
Yeah, and you can modify that for different
Right.
reasons, different purposes.
yeah. Right, yeah, like making sure you turn the lights and the heat down and all those things, right.
And then that person signs it and has to hand it in on,
Right.
you know, separate
Yeah.
piece of paper
Yeah.
to get.
And we've been lax about supervision of
Yeah.
this.
Well, that's an
That's a
important thing.
thing that
Yeah.
we really have to
Yeah,
establish that as a really serious ongoing.
yes. What have you thought about, and
Yeah, well, definitely one of the
you're gonna
items
bring that up?
is, yeah, to develop a checklist. We also were gonna have a checklist, kind of what you might find when you go into the bathroom at McDonald's. It would list the day, this time we'd list the event, and all the things that need to be done.
Right.
And that would be part of the rental agreement
Yes.
and follow through for people to get their security deposit back. So it's certainly more effort on all our parts, but we need to do this because the building is getting used more,
Yeah.
which is what we all want. So, but we need to figure out a way to make it work. So I know my first question is if the town would be willing to spend that money, we would need to find somebody who can do this work and then go forward, where it probably still pay to do it once a month, probably, you know, a few days before the senior meal, which is when the building's used a great deal. And then the people who do senior meal would likewise be responsible for cleaning it,
Right.
to make sure it's in the condition they got it.
Right, so that checklist, you
Yeah.
know, we can
Yeah, so
put
thank you.
different headings.
Right, yeah.
But just,
So we'll
But
work
that's an
something
important
together, you know, at our meeting, we'll discuss it, we'll get a member to formalize it, and then we'll present it to you and to, you know, to the town, to Winetta, and
Okay.
see if it works.
okay,
The one thing is about the paying for someone to actually do it. If you're, I don't know if you need to make a motion on that, or not, or just, we'll see how it goes, or,
Do you have anything else you want to, or
excuse me?
what else you looking for besides that?
Oh. Not much. Let's see, what else I got on my list?
Do you guys have like an overview of what you guys are responsible for?
yeah, they do, they have the policy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You gotta admit, I mean, I was at town meeting this year, I was pretty
We
impressed.
got this last year.
It was a lot
I mean,
nicer
last
and
meeting, I think it was.
warmer, the whole 9 yards, I mean,
Williamsville Town.
and I like it
Yeah, but
that
that's
they're
just
using it
policies
year round
that
like
get
that
to
too, you know?
I'm just talking about
Yeah, that's what
something
we've been
different.
working for. That's nice to hear, appreciate that.
No, I
Good.
thought it was really nice, so.
Thank you.
good.
The only thing was, is the nice chairs you had down front, I wish we'd had 3 or 4 more up on the stage for us, 'cause by the end of the day, that's the hardest goddamn chair I've seen.
Next year, or next time it's at the hall. We'll make sure
So we
this.
sat down, me and Chris kept looking, and the guys look like movie chairs.
That was an oversight. Well, the road crew set that up. I can blame that. That was Jay's fault.
Yeah, sure.
I would have
Other than
been,
that, I thought you guys did a great job so far.
Absolutely.
So Steve, what I was looking for was like just an overview of what your responsibilities are within the building, so we can,
It's in what?
no, I'm talking about just what you're willing to take on as a committee, so that we can see what else needs to be done. So, you know, you're looking for assistance in the heat or cleaning, right?
It's all in here.
Is it in there?
Did you read this?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
No, I don't have it in front of me.
yeah, in a sense, I think I hear what you're asking for, and it's sort of like a mission statement
Right,
of the
right.
whole committee. We don't actually have one.
Well,
Not really a mission
we
statement,
have
just
Yeah, oh, we do, I'm sorry, yeah.
we do.
a description of
Yeah.
what you guys do.
Yeah, we should,
can I just read?
we should refresh.
You want to, can I just read the beginning
Yes.
paragraph?
Yeah, we do.
This is the town of Newfane, Williamsville Hall use policy, and I'll just read the 2 paragraphs. Number 1, the Williamsville Hall shall be available to all groups, organizations, or individuals on a first-come, first-served basis, both public and private, with the prior consent and approval of the administrative assistant, and if there are concerns, the Newfane Selectboard. Number 2, all groups, organizations, and individuals must reserve space with the board's administrative assistant within a reasonable period of time prior to the intended use. Reservation does not constitute confirmation if the board's administrative assistant determines that the request must be reviewed by the board. And it goes on to talk about rental fees, and then it says,
Yeah.
what?
I'm talking about operations. I'm not talking about leasing. I think you know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
think-
Yes.
Right, yeah.
What is here?
No.
Well,
Operations is about the responsibilities of what that committee is
Of
going
that,
to
what the
take on.
committee does.
Not who they're renting to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think it might be helpful for us. I mean, basically,
think we
we
have
assume,
something like
yeah,
that.
we probably do
Do
some,
we
we
have-
basically assume we do whatever we need to do to keep the place open and available. So, but I don't know if we've ever codified it. Maybe we did. Yeah, I think, yeah, Myra thinks we did.
We
So
did.
we'll dig it out.
But, yeah,
We might-
but with it being
I can go
year
back
round
and
now.
dig out the stuff, but we have that written
Yeah,
down.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So that we
yeah.
know kind of what our responsibility is
Right.
as far as the.
Well, what you've done over the past too, I think, is when you look things over and they get their donations in for
Yeah,
different things, you guys have paid for quite a lot of money, you know, out of the committees that they've had for like, what was it, the windows, the curtains, there was a bunch of different things or something one time.
Carpentry work, yeah.
So they take their money and they put it into that, and then we,
The
we
chair,
have to,
those nice,
so, we haven't really gone over budget on nothing so far. I mean, they do
Right.
put a lot of, that committee does a lot of that kind.
Absolutely.
You know, that's what they're looking for, like I said, like the chairs, you know, they got the update on the chairs, or like the heat this year, and, you know, there's a lot, they went and got all that for us, so.
right, right.
Yeah, those nice chairs, oh, sorry.
You-
Those nice chairs, we paid about 1/3 of them. Rock River Players also, they paid the other 2/3.
So I guess the other question would be like, who locks the building up at night, or, you
That
know,
would
that
be-
kind of procedure?
Right, that'll be part of the,
Well, that's in that, in that list too.
yeah, that'll be part of this checklist,
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
to make sure. That's another whole issue I thought about, but I won't even bring it up, about the key and the lock, but we'll work on that. An easy thing we can deal with, are there any more questions about this situation?
Well, I
The
think
cleaning
Myra
and-
brought something up earlier. You said that one of the issues you still have is that who is going to supervise
Yeah.
the setting up and goes.
I mean, we have it written down, that's a member of the committee is there, or the administrative assistant, but we haven't been
Yeah. Yeah.
really,
And that's part of operations.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we would often go over to show the hall if Shannon was busy or what, I mean.
Right.
We're close, so it's just, it's
Yeah.
easy for us to go and open it up.
I mean,
show
it wouldn't be the administrative assistant's responsibility to go over there and show people around, is it?
Well, she did.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes, she did.
Yeah, it's written
Yeah.
in the policy, actually, administrative assistant goes first, but if she can't do it, but we would, I
I
think,
thought my understanding was that whoever, let's say if you want to use the hall or lease the hall, that person would come here and get the paperwork and then eventually put down the deposit, get the key, and then also at the end report back with her check, with the checklist and
Yeah.
everything, that it would be, I mean, the
That was always
administrative
Shannon.
assistant
Yeah.
sits here in this office and she needs to be here.
right.
So I don't think it would be her job to give tours or check on the cleanliness or anything.
That's why we have to clarify. That's why we have to clarify who's doing
Yeah,
what,
right.
yeah.
Well, when it was set up at that point in time, the select board wanted to, how do I put this? They wanted to they wanted to be more in charge of who, what, where, and when.
Of how
And
we
so they
operate.
decided that they wanted the
Yeah.
Shannon
Right.
to
Right.
go over there, show the place, whatever. And then, you know, as things changed, they, a little more trust in the hall committee.
Yeah,
So
I
we
think-
took that off her shoulders.
I'd rather put in the trust to the committee
Yeah.
who lives there, who's, you
Yeah,
know, it's
sure.
their home.
Well, for the last
take care of
several
it,
years,
And then
Shannon
we do
has-
the administrative work, yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, it really hasn't happened before or after recently, so we need to get back to that. And we would be happy, you know, to do it,
Yeah.
since we are there, and it's not that often, so.
To show somebody.
Yeah, to show it and to go in and check
Yeah,
it
sure.
Right.
after, which is just as important,
Yeah,
yeah, so we could take that on,
Yeah.
sure.
so just putting that together as to what your committee
Yeah.
can do,
Right,
and then we have to look at what we can, you know, what
Yeah.
we can do.
sure, okay. We'll work
What would
on
you
that.
like to do? For example, what would you like to do, for example?
I don't know, it's based on what they're willing to do.
Well, we're willing to do anything that needs to be done.
They're willing
Up to
to
a
do
point.
anything.
Careful.
Well, it's a
Except,
discussion.
except watch the window.
With Jay's help.
Figuring out who's doing what, that's all it is.
Okay. So, all right, now, we can go through the dog show pretty quick. I did talk to Vicky Abar, who's the head underwriter at VLCT. Had a nice conversation, she sent me a bunch of material, but when it came to the dog show, she wasn't quite sure how it worked, so she passed it on to someone named Wade Mazur, who sent me a email about it. And basically, in the agreement or the application form that we put out, we pretty much covered all the issues that concerned him. I mean, we can have a dog show. There's nothing in the liability that would prevent it. The town will be covered. But he brought up a bunch of issues. I don't know, somewhere I had a little dog show group of material. Here it is. He wanted, this should be in the agreement. Dogs of an aggressive nature, personality should not be allowed. Dogs need to be under control of their owner at all times. All dogs present must be currently licensed. All dogs have current vaccinations, and also a waiver to hold harmless the town. So that pretty much we had that in our agreement without knowing that's what he wanted. We could tighten up the language a little better to make sure all that is covered.
I would make a separate sheet for them to do, to know all the rules and
Well-
have them sign off on it.
Each participant.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, of
Well, I don't know if
course, of
anyone's
course.
seen, this is the application, and it has, you know, the pertinent information on the second sheet. It goes over all those issues,
Just by
then they have to
chance.
sign it.
Well,
Yeah.
can we just, you know, we're in a big group now, so can we start raising hands so everybody will be heard in order? Please,
Sure.
go ahead, Steve.
On the other hand, it might be that we have the dog show in the field across from the hall, because John has graciously said we can use it. That might solve a lot of problems. The other issue is that we might not get enough applications to have a dog show. So far, the applications have to be in by the 13th of April, a week from Friday. We've gotten 4, and we know of 4 or 5 other dogs, but that's not enough to do it. So unless there's a landslide of applications in the next week or so, it won't be an issue. The important point is that if it does go forward, which I hope it does, the town will be covered for liability as long as we do those points that was sent to us, so. I
So
think-
do you have a deadline set up
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, April 13th, the deadline for the application,
Okay.
so we'll see what happens. If we only have 10 dogs, it's not worth it.
Shelley?
Yes, well, I used to run a dog show
Oh,
for
really?
AKC
Oh, wonderful.
at a big
Wow.
convention center.
Oh, wow.
So I'm aware of what your
Yeah.
challenges are. So I'm
Mhm.
just trying to be helpful.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, yeah. Well, the person on the committee who's organizing this, Janine Rose, who's actually became a full-time resident in January.
Uh-huh.
She had a dog that was at Westminster. So
Oh,
she-
yeah?
So it was her idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah, right.
It's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. I think we'll get not a landslide, but I think we'll get a lot of
Well,
applications.
it's a start,
Yeah, we'll start,
but it's a
yeah.
great idea.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement. She actually has gotten sponsorship from One Stop Pet Shop in town.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're gonna give prizes for all
Yeah.
the category winners, and every dog that enters will get a treat, and.
It's
yeah,
pretty
so-
fancy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and she's gotten some other sponsorship too. I think one of the vets was gonna be involved somehow.
So just to let you know, I've worked at a convention center. So I'm
Oh.
like operations,
Mhm.
focused.
Right.
And it's a small place over there and stuff like that, but you still have to be concerned
Yeah.
about liability to
Right.
the town.
Yeah, so this,
Yeah,
we should be
you
covered.
research this, and
Right.
so you know.
Right. So, any other questions? about the dog
Anybody
show?
have a question?
Yeah, it should be a fun afternoon. Okay. Let's deal with insurance. So insurance, that's very interesting. As I say, I talked to Vicky Ibar, and she gave me lots of information. And the idea is that anyone beside the town or the hall committee, which is the town as well, any event that we put on is covered
Yeah.
because the town is covered. Now, I'll take a little side issue, the alcohol question. There is a difference between being served alcohol and drinking your own alcohol. There's something called the host liquor liability coverage. The town is covered under that host liquor liability coverage. If people bring their own alcohol and consume it, there is no further need for additional insurance. It's covered. If someone had an event and they had someone serving alcohol beside the event holder, then they would need a special license. And that would be special insurance coverage.
And that's not for purchase, right?
Yes, if people are purchasing, it's a whole different thing.
Right.
And that's something we never
Which
want to
we-
get,
yeah,
we
yeah.
will never get involved. If they need a license, they need to be bonded, it's like,
Right.
so we're not gonna do that. So, for instance, there is, I found out about something called TULIP coverage, TULIP, Tenant Users Liability Insurance Policy. It was something that the VLCT told me about. And you can get, so if someone's having an event at the hall and they're serving alcohol, they can go to this site and enter online their information and come up with a quote. If they want to go ahead, they can purchase it online and pay with a credit card. I took, for an example, my wife and I were going to have a party in August. We'll probably have 75 people at the hall. I put in 3 days, day before, the day of, the day after, to clean up and set up. Figuring we have 75 people serving alcohol, the premium was $103. That included, the coverage for alcohol and general liability.
Oh, that's
So I
good to
thought it was
know.
very reasonable.
Do you have to do it for 3 days though?
Well, generally, the policy has been if someone rents the hall, say for Saturday event, we let them go in on Friday to set up, and we let them go in on Saturday to clean up, and we just charge them the 1 day.
Yeah, but the insurance was that for liquor? Or for?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but do you need that for the 3 days even though?
No,
No, probably
No,
not.
okay.
So, yeah, but I did it before this afternoon just to get an
An
idea,
idea,
and I was
yeah.
pleased because it's
Modest.
very modest, because I've heard of people having to pay $300 or $400 for that kind of
I
coverage.
have, I got a copy of the rental agreement that Union Hall uses. And so for alcohol, I'll just read you what they wrote. And they said if any alcohol is to be offered or consumed on the Union Hall premises, the user agrees to release and indemnify the Village of Newfane from any and all liability or damages resulting from such offering or consumption. The user shall present the following evidence of insured coverage prior to the rental. The Village of Newfane shall be listed as additional insured on the insurance coverage. Acceptable evidence of insurance could be, number one, rider on a homeowner or business policy for special coverage for the dates involved. Number two, evidence that a caterer with a liquor license has been hired. And number three, certificate of special coverage liability insurance.
That's what they
So
have
that's-
in their
Yeah.
release agreement.
Yeah,
That similar language is in our
yes.
agreement. So the one thing I learned, which I didn't know previously, was that anyone who goes in and uses the hall for an event, birthday party, whatever it is, and they're not serving liquor, they still need to have their own liability
Yes.
coverage. I believe that, and I unfortunately didn't have time to check it out. I was away for a number of days. That most homeowners' policies, if there's no alcohol involved, will give people coverage for that kind of an event. But I will check on it tomorrow and,
General-
report back.
Excuse me, somebody raised their
Excuse
hand.
me, yeah.
Tom?
Do your leasees provide the town with a certificate of insurance, similar to what a contractor would have to work on your property? Their insurance company, with a phone call, will send it directly to the town offices?
Yeah, right now it's only set up if they're serving alcohol.
Yeah.
But this new wrinkle or new thing we found out about, this new condition, we didn't know about the liability, even if no alcohol is being served.
Exactly.
So we'll work on
Just a
that.
general liability?
Yeah,
You know,
right.
somebody falls down those
Right.
steep stairs at the hall,
Right.
or
And most,
one of the dogs bites somebody, some kid, you know?
yeah, right, yeah, but as I say, I believe, but I'm not sure, most homeowners policies will cover people for events outside their home. But we'll tighten that up. So we've made some progress. We have a much better understanding of what is covered, what alcohol can be served and not be served. And we know about this new place to get underwriting for liquor. So the town is covered. Let's see, I think, because before we weren't sure, and there really is no difference at an event. If you're serving alcohol or if people bring their own bottle, the idea is that they need coverage. But if it's a town event, the event will be covered. Which, so brings me to the point on the 19th of April, the community's having a Seder dinner. If it becomes a Williamsville Hall Committee event, which in a sense it is because it's a community event, then the people there will be able to drink wine. Otherwise, they'll be drinking grape juice.
But that's where people bring their own.
Yes, but people bring their own. And as I say, it is a community event. It's open to the community. And if the board thinks that'd be fine for, I think in in the future years, there will be a Williamsville Hall Committee, an official Williamsville Hall
Yeah.
Committee event. And if we could do that for this year, then wine can be, people could bring their own wine and there'll be coverage. So I don't know if you want to discuss that or vote on it, or you don't like the idea, you want to do it, or what.
Well, I just think that it should be written down so we have a policy, you know, and that you refer to it.
Okay, yeah. Right. Well, I was gonna get up, I will be at the Seder. I was just gonna get up and say, the Williamsville Hall Committee welcomes you all,
Yes,
and
I think
drink up.
that's perfect.
Right. If that's fine with everybody,
Is
I'd
that
like to
fine?
do that, because, as I say, it is, you know, it is a
Okay.
community, and the Passover Seder always takes up a collection, and the majority of the money collected goes to the hall.
Yes,
So I have another question.
Mhm.
So the question is, when you have donations for your heat fund, okay? My question is that they need to be, I think legally they need to be identified specifically for the heat fund, if people are donating for the heat fund. And they should be listed as a donation for the heat fund.
how do you, why?
Because by accounting practices, if somebody is giving to a specific fund, you have to use that money for that specific person.
But they've
Purpose.
been, how have you been dealing with this all these years?
Well, we just started in the fall for the
Right.
first event.
Yeah, that's true. We had, prior to this, we
Didn't have that.
We even have the slogan, heat the hall.
Right, right.
Yeah, I thought it was catchy, so we put it
Right.
on the event notices. But, yeah, before it was just, you know,
Formal kind
yeah,
of.
just donate the hall, support the hall, which we will go back to immediately. But it's my feeling that anyone who gave money, you know, paid an admission or made a donation to be admitted to an event would be more than happy to see the money used for anything that
I mean, I
keeps the
think
hall
that-
open. So
That,
I don't think it needs to be delineated.
right,
Well, I think if you look at, if somebody was concerned how the money was being spent, and they're giving donations for the heat fund, they would want it to go towards the heat fund.
Well,
I
yeah,
don't,
I just-
Myra?
I think that's an overcomplication.
Yeah,
That we would, you know, prefer not to deal with.
right.
If we just have a donation to the hall, and part
Well,
of,
general donations, yeah.
yeah, general donation, so we don't have to label it for
Right.
the heat.
That would keep it
I
simplified.
think we would be better off that way,
Yeah.
rather than a
yeah,
complicated.
Yeah,
actually,
I
this
concur.
year, yeah, we had that agreement in the fall.
Right.
Right, we did that.
If we
talked
had
about that
shortfalls
already.
in the operating expenses,
Yes.
we could take it from the Williamsville Hall
Right.
donation fund.
Yeah.
And I think Melissa's looking at it now. The heat, there was only $1,000 allocated for heat, and so far we've spent $1,900. So certainly $1,900 from the donation fund will go towards heating.
Or is it just the amount over? I thought we were just.
Yeah, the
doing-
amount over.
Yeah, so $912.
Yeah, we're gonna make
Oh,
up any
yeah,
shortfall.
oh, yeah, but what I'm saying is
I
when
agree.
someone specifies to go towards a specific fund,
I don't see,
I see your.
it should go towards that fund.
well, there's a general fund, and whatever needs to be done in the building, that fund is
Yeah,
going to
rather
use,
than
including
complicated.
heating. You don't want to have to,
It's-
it would
it's-
make it very complicated for them.
I'm not
Extra
trying to make
work.
it complicated.
Well,
All I'm
they
trying to
just
do is
said.
doing it fiscally responsible.
But they are fiscally responsible. I mean,
just
you have to
saying.
trust,
Good job.
I mean, yes,
So we could just call it support the hall instead
Yeah.
of heat the hall.
Sure,
yeah,
Yeah.
good
We'll
idea.
go forward like that, we'll call it support the hall. We'll still throw some money toward your heat,
Right.
the
Well,
heat.
Yeah, and I think we'll need to put money towards electric.
No, I
No.
think we're fine. Well,
Forget
we'll
this.
find out at the end of the year,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, we have a few more months to go.
yeah.
So the money that has gone in won't, maybe not 100% go to heat, but it's all gonna go to operating expenses.
yeah,
So,
I
and
think
if anyone
what
ha-
John's saying, support.
Right, support the hall from now on.
Well, yeah,
As I say,
have it go into a general fund like that, because what Shelley is saying is true. It's about like we just put that money into the bank tonight. You got that Fred fund there, whatever that is, for the cemetery
That's
thing,
what you
right?
can only use it.
They
for.
put that can only be used for that. Same with the tree fund, can only be used for trees and planting. So when people donate to that, that's what they know it's going for. So, but if you, like you've been putting it in, the money that you make and goes into the general fund, just like I said one time, we used some for carpentering or what you guys did, you know?
Right.
And all that, so that's the way to keep it like that, just let it go towards that.
Right. I mean, still use the slogan, you know, heat the hall.
No, never again.
But don't have them write, don't have them write on the check, you know, for the heat fund.
Oh, no, people don't. They just make it out to the town.
Right.
So no one
I
gets-
did, because I was told to
Oh,
write
well,
it that way.
Well, your money will definitely go to the.
Well, it's not really that, it's not really that. All I'm saying is that when the auditors look at our books, okay, and they look at checks or whatever, they might pull a check and say, oh, this one's for the heat fund. Well, if it's not identified as that, then we're not in compliance.
Why don't we ask Melissa, the treasurer, about that?
That if they look at the checks, he
Mhm.
doesn't go through the Winston Hall checks, to be honest with you.
No, but I mean, if
I
they
think
did
if
an
they go
audit,
forward without just eliminating,
Yes.
saying it's for the heat
Right.
fund and just keep it
general,
general.
General.
Right.
I think this will wash out, you know,
Right.
That'll be
And probably the money we have made, I mean, a good majority of it will go.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think we need to go back through and just pull
No.
that out exactly now.
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, as far as I'm concerned anyways, I don't even care. I mean, if the town raises the money to pay for the heat, one reason it's so low anyways, because we used to shut it down.
Right.
In the wintertime, now we're keeping it open year round, so I mean, what we gotta do is raise the budget.
Which
You know, to make up for that, because I
Right.
mean, what you guys have been doing, like I said, has been great there. I mean, you've done a lot of improvements in the last 4 or 5 years since I've been around here. I mean, on the board, you guys have done a hell of a job.
Absolutely.
I like to see it going, and it's, you know, it's just like over town meeting, there's a lot of new people that came to town this year. And they try to think, well, what can I do for committees? And it's just like I think when I told you guys about the heat that night and stuff, everything's, I'd like to see you use your money on what you think needs done there. But, you know, it's the same with all of us, we're all getting older. You don't see many new kids or they coming up want to be a selectman, or they don't want to go over and sit on your committee or like that. It'd be nice to see some 25, 30-year-old people come in and start taking, you know, the business, going in and doing stuff like that to get onto it. That's what, you know, if we don't do it now ourselves, you know, I mean, a lot of this stuff ain't gonna get done the way I look at things. And it'd be nice to see a lot of younger people join in.
Here, here.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep it warm. Make it
If by
nice.
making it look active, maybe we will have, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, because we do have young people around.
Melissa?
Yeah, I actually have a question. Isn't this Williamsville Hall supposed to also be on that solar, like the town is, in the town garage and the old town garage?
For the electric.
Yeah.
Town building.
I thought I was going for all town buildings, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
But the whole dump thing down there was supposed to be another thing too for us, so.
Because I know they had the Union Hall on there. I told them to take the Union Hall off because that's not ours.
oh,
But I've been having trouble getting them to respond to actually get the Williamsville Hall on.
Yeah, we'll take
That
their
would be
place.
good.
Yeah, great.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Save some money.
don't we have like a contract with them we could look at?
I don't know.
Maybe,
Yeah, we'll have to do some more investigative work.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, no, thank you.
But I've been looking into it for 3 months and the guy just doesn't respond back. He might respond if I stop paying the bills, maybe?
Yeah, that's a
You
good
would hear
plan.
from them.
That
Yes.
usually works.
Yeah, that usually works, so.
So,
Anything else?
oh yeah,
Who owns the Union Hall? The
The
church?
village.
the village, Newfane
Newfane
Village
Village,
Association.
yep.
Okay.
It's the incorporated village of Newfane.
Right.
So,
And so all the expenses have to be paid for from the taxes that
Are
people
generated
pay,
from
an
the
extra
town.
tax they pay.
so any questions up to this point? I have one more.
No, go
Topic.
ahead,
Okay.
Steve, you're doing
All
great.
right, good.
Am I-
So the last topic is the Rock River Players.
Yeah.
So I want to start by saying that we had a meeting on March 19th between some members of the committee and Rock River Players Board. And it was very amicable. We got a lot of work and issues covered. And one of I started the meeting by saying how appreciative we and the town are for what they do. Because
Yes,
it brings so many people together, not just the people who attend events, but the people who, participate, I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of people. And Annie Landenberger, who's still the director, pointed out that since August of 2015, they've contributed $4,085 to the town through the Williamsville Hall Fund. Now, something we have to think about is, they do take big blocks of time when they're having rehearsals. But when they have those rehearsals, they're not in there all day. They might just be in there for a couple of hours. And most of their events take place, or, they rehearse in the warm weather. Like at this moment, they're rehearsing for a play which will go up in May. And they had 1 or 2 rehearsals at the hall in December and realized that it was insane to heat that building for just a couple of hours. So they've been rehearsing down in South Newfane at the schoolhouse. So they are very conscious about the energy use. They will be rehearsing in the hall in April, but it's for just 2 hours, and they rehearse in the cold. They wear their hats and scarves, and they don't expect to heat the building for 2 hours. So they're very frugal with their energy use. So, and they are a nonprofit, and they are 501c3. According to our agreement, they would have, and it's a community event, they would have the use of the building for free.
Right.
But they do contribute half of their profits to the Williamsville donation fund. If we feel we need to put some money towards operating expenses, we can take some of the donated money to the hall fund and put it towards the general fund. But I'm not sure that that's necessary.
What's the
'Cause-
difference between the donation and the hall fund?
Oh, it's the same. It's the Williamsville Hall. Yeah, it's the Williamsville Hall donation fund.
That's what I thought.
Right, it's one and the same. But
I
since-
didn't see your contract until just recently, and I saw that it was free to nonprofits, and they bring in so many people and everything.
Yeah, so much goodwill.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I think whatever we can do to support it. The whole donation fund has been used to buy, has gone towards those chairs. We've done some electrical upgrades so they can, use more lights. A couple other things to help them out. Remember?
Excuse me,
The
Tom
table.
raised
The
his
table.
hand.
Yeah.
Steve, Tom just has been raising his hand.
Just a question that came to mind. Now that the building is being heated during the winter,
Right.
and hadn't been before, has there been an energy audit on the building to take into consideration? I'm sure that building doesn't have any insulation in it. I mean,
Well, it has a fair, it has 16 inches in the upper ceiling.
oh, good.
Yeah.
And
we've
this
done-
fall, we just insulated the cellar ceiling.
So you're already aware of
We-
the
Oh, sure.
issue. Good. Yeah.
Before we did the work we did this fall, we had a blower test
Yep.
done.
Yep.
And after we insulated, fixed the windows and tightened things up, we had a 50%, a little better than 50%
Excellent.
improvement in air transfer, so,
Well, we went to a couple of your functions, your chili, and then
Oh.
the little cabaret
Oh,
night you
great.
had, and it seemed very, very warm in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
But I'm just,
Yeah,
you know,
no,
it
sure.
popped to my, I'm
Mhm.
in contracting,
Yeah,
so I
okay.
think of these things
Yeah,
off the
no,
wall.
we've been as energy conscious as we can. There is no insulation in the walls, and there hopefully will never be because of, preservation measures. Because once you insulate walls in an old building, you're just killing creating a terrible moisture problem. Right. And I think we've mitigated a lot of the moisture problem that we did have, the moisture in the mortar. I'd love to see the place have a great cleanup, and so we can go forward keeping it clean.
Can I ask one other question?
Yeah.
Is there a handicap accessibility to the downstairs?
The building is fully ADA compliant.
Yes, okay.
Yes, there's a
ramp?
lift. No, there's a lift. Well, there's a ramp from the street
Yep,
to a sort of a lower level,
okay.
and then the lift goes to the upper level and downstairs.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
And the
Okay.
4 bathrooms, on each
I saw
level,
that they
are
were
ADA
compliant.
compliant.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so we've been pushing that on all our information.
Where's the lift?
Excuse me.
I just read the
Yeah,
I know it didn't go on because somebody else had raised their hand, but go ahead.
sorry. As you
Shall
look
we
at
go
the
ahead?
building, on the right, there's a wooden ramp,
Yeah,
and that ramp goes to the mid-level of the lift. It's sort of hidden away. So if you're inside and you're looking towards the entrance, It's in a little alcove over to the right.
It's inside,
Yeah, oh yeah, it goes inside.
Yeah,
and that goes
It
downstairs?
goes, is two,
Right.
yep. and-
Wow, I
and
didn't know
up-
that.
And upstairs.
Yeah,
right.
when you go into the building, on your extreme right is
Right.
where the door to the lift.
Yeah, there's a wooden door. If you go through that, there's a little alcove there. And that's where the lift
Oh,
is.
now, is that marked?
Is that what?
Marked as a ramp, as a handicap
No.
access?
No,
People just know.
yeah.
Huh?
People know.
People just know?
Yeah,
After they learn.
Yeah, it gets a little, right. After they learn about it.
Upstairs.
Yeah. I guess
You
we
gotta
could
have a
have,
secret code, right?
yeah, I don't know, do we need to have one of those handicap signs?
You might wanna put a handicap thing on there,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, I don't know.
or we
You-
should put a
Yeah,
handicap
she'll come during
thing on
senior
there.
meals. That thing's going up and down.
Wow, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
and the senior meals,
Yeah.
they know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
know about it.
but the general public.
Yeah, so we are ADA compliant.
Okay.
So, so just going through my notes. So if you're happy with the Rock River Players' use of the building, they're gonna have a big cleanup on May 5th. I wish it was earlier. They're basically gonna organize their stuff. They're gonna clear out from the lower level. They're gonna use only the balcony. They're gonna organize it so it doesn't, so it looks nice, instead of the mess that they have now. They're gonna take some of the stuff out of the building and just, tighten up what they're doing there.
One recommendation and request that I think is important, that, because I remember that it was an issue when Shannon was here, and that is that if somebody would call Winetta, for example, and say that they would like to rent the hall at a certain time, she often didn't have information that, in fact, Rock River Players were rehearsing for those days, and so it became problematic. So I think that not only do you want to let Shannon know when leases, people want to lease, but she should know, in addition to you, when those rehearsals are taking place, so that there wouldn't be a conflict of interest.
Yeah, we talked about that briefly, and it was determined that on the times, like the week before a big production went up, then it can't be used, unless whoever wanted to rent it wouldn't mind the stage set. Or sometimes they build sets on the main floor.
But I'm just saying that
But
it's
they would be-
important not to forget that that hall is being used also for rehearsals.
Date.
Right.
Right.
And-
But they're
and
willing-
That Winetta would need to know that.
Right. But the Rock River Players are willing to let other people use the building.
No, I understand.
While they're setting up, while they have, their stage up.
Well, you could use the downstairs if they were upstairs doing a
Well, it
production,
depends
right?
on,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
it's important that she knows as
Yeah.
well as you do.
Yeah, it's only like they would do a show, 3 days or 4 days over 2 weekends.
Right.
Those days, they don't want it to be used,
Right.
understandably. But like the week before, they're willing to open it. And let other people, they don't want to just lock it
I'm just
out.
saying that,
Yeah, we need to,
So
John,
would you like us to have Annie Landenberger call Winetta with a schedule saying?
Yes.
Here's your, okay.
yeah,
That-
and
that's what
clarify,
needs to be done.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Annie will call
Yes.
Winetta.
and
Okay,
clarify
thank you,
which
John.
of those days the hall is also available to
Yeah.
other people.
yeah,
So the other point is, I think we were talking about, is that there's more than one person that's on the website putting in events. Is that
Yes.
true?
Here I am.
So I think there was some confusion around that.
Yeah, well, I've only entered Williamsville Hall committee events. Nothing else.
Okay, meaning
Yeah, like,
the dog show or something?
yeah, right.
Okay. So, but even, my question is also like with that dog show, that if you're doing it as the Williamsville Hall
Yeah, that is-
committee,
Mhm.
that there's some sort of procedure with that. So you act like there's a contract with it. You know what I mean?
No, I don't
Well,
understand what you're saying.
Well,
Oh.
meaning that, you fill out a form or you notify her the time frames that you're using it.
Oh,
You
you
know,
mean
that-
for Renetta?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Of course.
yeah.
I don't know if that's necessary, because the whole committee is a subcommittee of the select board. And if we, or up till now, we don't feel like we needed to have a contract. Because,
Well, and that's so much a contract, but as far as just that you're scheduling your time with her.
Yeah, but that's what they are doing that.
Well, no, he's going in and putting his time on the calendar and,
yeah, but only Williamsville Hall events,
right,
Hall
so.
committee events. So if Winetta went into the calendar, she would see, an event like the dog show. And
Okay,
I don't know, do you think we need to, I'd be happy, it just seemed easier and safer work if we entered our events that the Hall committees do.
I know there was a question about
Yeah,
it.
okay. Do you have a question?
Going forward, it's just easier to know that in initials and brackets.
Yeah, right, we talked about that.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, I
and
would,
then we know
I
what's
mhm.
going forward and
Mhm.
what was predated.
yeah, so that way she'd know that I did it.
Okay. So you're the only person that's doing it then?
It's me. It's just. I think I've covered everything I wanted to talk about. The only thing is back to the beginning, about whether the town would be willing to help with the cleaning. And if you
That's a
know,
good idea. Yes,
I said I'd make a motion to do.
good.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Yes, good, okay, thank you.
one other question.
Yes.
Who's cleaning the town office now?
Who cleans
Well,
this?
my mother temporarily until
Yeah, I heard
she,
she's,
yeah.
she can't.
And I thought somebody came in and filled out all the paperwork.
Yeah, but that person probably couldn't do a big heavy cleaning.
Okay, so you're back to square one.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if anyone know,
I might know someone.
yeah, we need like, not, probably a professional cleaner
Do
maybe
you
the first time.
have, do they have insurance too?
No, we usually carry them under the town's workers' comp.
In the building? Okay.
I may have
Oh,
someone to
okay,
clean.
yeah. So if we found,
They
when we
come
find
in.
somebody
Yeah,
who can go in and clean up
Non-employee
what's there
worker
now,
Oh, yeah.
which is a good,
But you have
good
an
mess,
agreement for them?
you'll,
Okay.
we'll split the cost.
okay.
And that'll be 5 hours, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, okay.
We could
I
have
think
you
you-
do about
I
5
may-
hours now.
I may have somebody.
5 hours now
They're at approximately 4 to 5 hours now for each time they go into the cleanings.
for the senior meal.
Yeah,
So we'll probably have to add another hour on
so
to it,
about 6 hours, I'd say.
at least this first time.
So you're doing half out of just maintenance and then half out of donation expense?
Mhm.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that would, I mean,
So maybe.
John,
Do you want us, if we find somebody, do you want us to have them come in and talk to you?
No, no.
Do you want to approve them?
no,
or-
we trust you.
Well,
There's
What?
paperwork to do,
but
Yeah,
that's what I was-
subcontracting.
Okay, so there is some paperwork.
Yeah.
for that. Okay.
Do you need some more of those agreements?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
all.
thank you so much for coming and all the work that the three of you and
Yeah, thank
whoever
you
else
so
is on
much.
the committee does. Steve, Myra, John,
Everybody.
thank
We
you.
have an assistant director?
thank you for
Thank
your
you so,
time.
for working so well with me, Steve.
Yeah.
Myra, are you okay with the hand?
Yeah, it's coming off Friday.
Oh, good. Well, be careful, be careful, please.
Thanks for all your time.
Thank you.
What's that?
Those are the,
What? I'm not sure, but it just seems right. Thank you, Peter and Jay, for being here. Thank you so much.
Be
Bye-bye.
careful. Good night.
Oh,
Thank
these are
you,
all the
Tom.
different funds? Yeah.
there's one more, that I swear it's a grant.
Oh, I think it has like a few.
We
cents
don't
in it or
have,
something?
okay, I'd like to move along right now. Come on.
Yeah,
Isn't, Marion, I just want to bring it up. I just want to be able to speak as a board member.
You do speak,
Okay,
you do speak.
Okay.
And there are times that I need to have people raise their hand when there's a big crowd here,
okay,
okay? And you do speak a lot. I mean, you speak.
yeah,
I never say you can't speak, but I need order. That's part of my job,
okay.
okay?
I didn't know I was out of order. I just
I
feel like
need
I'm,
order if I say that I need people to raise their hands at a certain time, that I have to do that. So that way, everybody has a chance to speak. Okay, we're moving to unscheduled members of the public, and we don't have that. So the next item, new business and old business. We have to approve and sign the personnel policy, rules of procedure, purchasing policy, and conflict of interest policy. I do have something that I'm requesting with the purchasing policy that I'd like to add. And, where was it? Oh,
Yeah,
this?
it's that one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And the purchasing policy, does everybody have a copy? Do you have a copy, Shelley, in front of you?
I think I
Do you
might.
have one copy?
Purchasing
Mike?
policy.
You want to look at this? Want to share it with them? Here, you have, oh no, I'm sorry. Purchasing. Okay, if you look at the purchasing policy, on page 2, there's criteria for bid selection. And it's in evaluating bids, the select board will consider the following criteria. And right now it's 9 items. I would like to suggest and request that number 9 would become number 10, and I would want to add something right before number 10, which is any other factors. And I would like it to say as a number 9 criteria that all work is to be completed as stated in the contract before final payment is made. And I would like to bring that to the board's attention and see if that can be a motion so we could approve that and add that in. So if anybody has a thought or question about that, comment?
I don't have a problem.
Okay. How about you, Mike?
I don't know, bro.
How about you, Shelley?
Nope, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. So then, I'd like to make a motion that we add the sentence as a number 9, and Winetta can redo it, saying all work is to be completed as stated in the contract before final payment is made. And that's the only thing that I have. Otherwise, all the other policies are up to date, and we need to sign them so Winetta can put it in her file. So the
Personnel
first,
policy?
personnel policy, rules of procedure for the select board, and
I won't sign
conflict.
the personnel policy.
Excuse me?
I won't sign it because it's not right.
Oh, okay, so can we sign the?
Really? Why isn't it right? What's wrong with it?
What page are you looking at?
6,
Page 6? 1 second.
all appointments,
1 second.
90 days.
Oh, that's what you're saying, right? Appointments are
What,
appointed by the,
Are you, at B?
Excuse, Shelley was saying something.
I'm sorry, Shelley, what?
appointments are made by the town? Is that of an appointment?
Yeah, made by the selectmen, there's a whole list of them that appoint every year.
And they're just from the community, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so they're not personnel. They're not a paid staff member.
right.
Right, that's what your point is, right?
No.
Okay,
No.
well,
Yeah,
No.
yeah, she's right.
I am right.
Yeah, like he's
No, I
saying
know,
like we did the fence viewers and all that.
right, that's, okay, you're right.
Yeah,
Right, see, Christopher has thought that it meant that in 90 days we had to review it,
Yeah,
and we don't.
okay, all right,
This is,
all right.
this is paid.
no, I
for.
just wanted to confirm that
All
the
right.
question he was asking was being answered.
Right. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, all right, no problem,
That's
no
how-
problem. No problem.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're
So,
all set to sign that one too.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, so, oh, okay. So rules of procedure, there are two places that we have to sign. And it's adopted April 1st as of today, okay?
Make a motion to sign those.
I'll make a motion. Can we second? Thank you.
He made the motion, I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, there are two places here. Except it's, oh, I guess it's.
And that one,
No,
I'm sorry,
this
that was
one.
on which policy?
Okay.
That was on the
That was
personnel
the-
policy.
No,
Rules and procedures.
that's the rules of procedure policy, we
Thank
sign first.
No, but the correction?
No, I've already got that one.
Okay.
She's asking which one we're just signing.
Oh,
Okay, so now do we need to make a motion for each one, Mike?
I would think so, isn't it?
Okay. So you want to make a motion to
Personnel.
sign the personnel policy? Second? Anybody second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
All right, this is signed in two places. Where the hell do you sign it?
Yeah, I don't know, I think, Netta, you put two stickers here, but it's on the same page.
Is it flipped
It's
over?
only one place.
It's only one place.
There must have been when I had them all together and then we decided to only do one at a time.
Okay. This is the personnel policy we're
Okay.
doing now.
Mhm.
What was, the conflict, Shelley? Conflict of interest policy. Can we make a motion for that? To sign
Make a
that?
motion.
Can we have a discussion about the public, the rules of procedure? We can sign this, I mean, can we have a discussion about it?
Yeah, what is it? You want to discuss it right now?
Well, we can discuss it later, we'll sign this stuff, I just want to have a discussion about it.
Like a clarification.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay, this, we're just assigning the conflict of interest.
Okay.
and Angela's gonna have to sign these.
And what's this?
Shelley sent that one.
Yeah.
Well, I
This
think-
is for you to sign.
Yeah, because you're already making the motion and you're accepting it, majority rules,
Oh,
and
right.
we'll just have her.
Okay, just official,
Yeah.
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 Is that it?
We had four, is that,
Yes.
yes, okay.
I have,
So everything
I have
is signed.
3.
3?
No?
Tell me what you
I
have
have
there.
conflict of interest, personnel policy, rules of procedure.
What's that one underneath you?
Purchasing policy. Oh, because you know what, you were going to add that sentence.
Yeah, I'll add that and we'll have it for next week, or?
Yeah, is that okay?
Or I
Yeah.
can pop it in there now and just print it.
Okay,
Well,
you
we
want
do
to,
that. Yeah, and get it done with.
Yeah,
I'll give you
thank you.
these. So
but
they
not
don't
with
get
the
lost.
italics.
No.
Thanks. What was it that you wanted to discuss?
Well, what I wanted to discuss was on the,
Rules of procedure?
yeah, the rules of procedure.
Uh-huh.
I guess it's on the last page on the public participation. That I had mentioned to you earlier in the meeting that I wanted to discuss it. All meetings of the body are meetings in the public.
What, can you tell me, oh, I see, on the
Public
last page.
participation, yeah. Members of the public shall be afforded reasonable opportunity to express opinions about matters considered by the body, so long as order is maintained according to these rules.
Yeah.
So,
What is it that you want to discuss about that?
and then it goes on. If a member of the public has already spoken on the topic, he or she may not be recognized again.
What number are you looking?
Number
Oh,
5.
Yeah.
And then order and decorum shall be observed by all persons present at the meeting. Neither members of the body nor the members of the public shall delay or interrupt the proceedings or the peace of the meeting or interrupt or disturb any member while speaking. members of the body and the members of the public are prohibited from making personal, impertinent, threatening, or profane remarks. The whole, thing about raising your hand to speak, I mean, we were having an informal discussion.
No, we weren't, Shelley. We were having
Or
you brought this
Not
up
informal.
a year ago.
I did.
Yes,
I did. I
and
still-
nothing's changed.
Well,
nothing's
I
changed.
take offense to having to raise my
Well,
hand.
I'm sorry. You know what? Read the rules of procedure.
I don't
Read
see-
about the
I
job.
don't see raising the
Read
hand.
the job of the chairperson.
It's,
Read the job of the chairperson in the handbook. You have it right there.
Yes, I
I know you
have it.
tell me you don't have time to read it, but read it right now and see what it says.
Okay,
That it's the chairperson's job to keep order.
I just read it here. Right.
So what's the
So-
problem?
So order is
I can't
more of a
discuss that.
situation of if it's out of control, in my mind.
No. It's to prevent
is-
out of control.
Well, the point is that we're having a meeting in the public, but not of the public, okay? So the point is that we're here having a meeting, and I think that we should be allowed to speak.
Do you notice how much you speak?
I'm not saying that I don't speak.
And you are called on to speak?
Yes, I am called on, but I'm also interrupted often.
Yeah, if somebody else is
So-
raising their
so
hand,
the-
it is my job.
I know, but all meetings of the body are meetings in the public, not of the public. That's the first line. We're the select board,
Excuse me.
and I think we should be able to have a conversation.
This is not a conversation, it's a meeting. We're not having a conversation. This is a meeting,
It
and
is
I'm
a
in
meeting.
charge of the
It is a
meeting.
meeting.
Me as chairperson, I don't want to say me. The chairperson is
But
in
you're
charge.
right, you're in charge of if there's a wild, there's a lot of people
No,
speaking over that.
no, I'm in charge of the entire meeting. The entire meeting. The chairperson, if you read your handbook, that's what it says.
Well, it just sounds, we're also a part of the select board.
No, you
And we're
are
also
part-
members of the select
you
board.
are.
and We all have equal
Except for the
authority.
chair and running a meeting. There's one chairperson, and that chairperson's job is to run the meeting.
I understand that, but I don't think it was so out of control that we had to raise our hands.
I didn't say it was out of control.
Okay, well, you were
Okay, you know what,
instigating
I can't
raising
discuss
the
it.
hand.
I really, I can't. I absolutely cannot, I have to stretch. My God. I don't know what to say to you, Shelley. I don't know what to say. Do you go to other meetings? Do you
I've never-
notice that
I've never-
people raise their hand? and
No,
not
I've
go-
never seen
No?
a board, I've never
Yeah,
seen a
but-
select board raise their hand to speak.
Oh, well, maybe you should have been at town meeting.
I was sick. Is that,
do we,
what do you mean by that?
You've never been to a meeting where people have to raise their hand?
I've been to some meetings, yes, but I
And I
mean,
have a,
generally in a select board meeting, I've never seen anybody having to raise their
Really?
hand to speak.
do you watch? I
Yes,
know
I
you
do.
say you don't like to watch
Well,
videos.
Whatever I like or what I don't like, I'm expressing to you that
Okay.
I don't think that's a mandatory requirement. I think the first line says, all meetings of the body are meetings in the public, not of the public.
Oh, this is the new one.
yes. You want the old one that I have?
Yeah, only because I know the pages. I don't want to start with it. I have nothing to say about this. I really don't. We've been.
But your way or the highway, there's no discussion?
Yeah, I'm the
Excuse me?
chairperson. That's right. If you would you like to be the chairperson?
No, I have enough on my plate.
Okay.
It's
I'm the
no
chairperson.
different than
And
when,
this is not fun to constantly be asked the same questions. I am following the rules of procedure.
I'm not asking the same questions. Once a year? I mean, what do you feel? Do you want to raise your hand?
Well, I don't usually, no. I usually just speak my mind, but when it comes time. I mean, no, I don't think we should have to raise our hands every time, that's for sure.
Do I ask you to raise your
No,
hand every time?
No, like I said, I don't. I usually just say when it comes, I usually just speak,
Well, you're a big man, I guess, but,
No,
I'm just a little girl down here on the other end of the
No, I don't
Right.
think, I mean,
I'm just a
I think we
woman.
can work this all out no matter what, you know, so let's just, but yeah, I mean, like you said, if things are getting carried away and everybody's out there, too many people talking once, I can see you trying to bring it to a little bit of order, but I think that we don't really need to.
I got something to say about it.
Okay.
I see, if we're talking, I don't see, as long as we're employed about it,
Yeah.
I don't see really needing to raise your hand just to prove it. But if there's people out there, yes, you should raise your hand. We all should. That's the way I look at it.
Well, I mean, I'm going by what the policy is. It's all meetings of the body or meetings in the public and not of the public. So basically, we're here having a meeting and people do come in and we do have to afford them the time to speak, yes. And when they speak, they're supposed to really speak to the whole body, not to one or another.
I think they're supposed to address their comments to the chair and the select board as one,
Right.
not answer individual questions that one person puts forth.
All right?
As part of the Robert Rules of Procedure, it has to be addressed to the chairperson, and then it's no different than the moderator at the town meeting. She has to keep the order and be able to progress with the meeting in a fashion that's both recognized and helps to keep it moving, but also helps to answer any questions.
Well, it says here, comment by the public or members of the body must be addressed to the chair or to the body as a whole, and not to any individual member of the body or the public.
Right.
Members of the public must be acknowledged by the chair before speaking. It doesn't say in here that we have to raise our hand to have a conversation.
Actually, if you look at Robert's Rules of Order, it says the person has to stand. to
Stand
be
up.
recognized.
Yes, I do know.
Would you like to stand up?
No, not, yeah,
No.
well, maybe,
So-
maybe.
I mean, seriously. I could do that. We could go with very strict Robert Rules of Order, and then I'll have to ask you to stand, I'll have to ask Tom to stand, I'll have to ask Winetta to stand. I just find it easier just if somebody raises a hand. That's Robert's Rules of Order.
Yeah, I know.
And it doesn't say you have to wait until the meeting is out of control.
I don't know why you're so upset. All I'm
Because you've been bringing this up for a year, and it's like you have a problem with raising your hand.
In certain circumstances, yes. I'm sitting
Certain
down here at the end of the
circumstances,
table
you're
so that
saying
you can
never.
see me because I felt that I wasn't being recognized.
Watch the video when you get home.
No, I'm not being sarcastic, Mary.
No, I'm not
I'm
either.
having a
Watch the video
conversation.
and see if you were called upon. Watch the video. That's what the video, that's why it's great to have a video. On Wednesday, you can watch it and see.
That's great, but it's not my life. I'm
Well,
here-
you know what?
I'm
Then,
here and I'm just trying to resolve
okay.
having communication.
This is not my life either, but you know what? As a committed person on select board, I have an obligation to follow rules of procedure and the Robert's Rules of Order.
Right.
Otherwise, I shouldn't be on select board. And if I don't remember something, I assume responsibility to referring to
Well,
the
we're
handbook.
as
If
a
I don't
body.
remember
We're as a
something about the
body.
meeting, I'm lucky that we are videoed, so I can go back and watch something to make sure.
That's fine, but we're as a body, and I think we just should have the right to be able to speak.
You do have a right to speak, and you do speak, Shelley, and if you watch the video, you'll see how much you speak. Is that
Really?
correct?
But I mean,
I didn't believe it until I watched one once.
yeah, but I tell you what though, it's good to ask questions.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, for the last couple of years, our meetings have been pushed right through.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't
I've gotten
have
even
time to
embarrassed
do
to
it.
walk out of here at 6:30, 6:45, because we're not understanding what we're doing throughout the town. And I said, I mean, it's good to ask questions. I hear a lot of comments about Shelley asking all these questions, and all of us, And I said, well, with that being on board now, I think, and I said that right from the beginning with her, I thought it was gonna be a good thing for us. I mean, it's just like the damn town meeting this year, the budget. That thing went through our goddamn hands like it was, you know, water, you know? And they expected us to get up and speak at it at the town meeting about it. I didn't have a clue of half that stuff that went through there, you know? As far as figures and all this thing.
And you're in charge of the agenda, and
Well, what I'm saying is, it's good to be asking questions, and people know. I mean, even if it doesn't, it's going throughout the whole year or whatever. Come next year when we sit at that damn table up on that thing, we'll all know what the hell's going on. Because people are asking questions. I think we've been run pretty good. I'm not saying Shannon didn't do a good job, but she was running us all throughout the whole meeting. We come in here and our meetings just went like that, we were all done. You know, I mean, we didn't have a clue sometimes what.
exactly, we don't get the information, there's a
And
lot
I
of
think now, like with a
information.
whole new, not new board, but new, you know, we got a new member, new assistant. Everybody's gonna ask some questions, and I think it's a good thing, you know? Yeah, maybe it does take up a little bit of time, but you know, if we don't have the time to put into it, we shouldn't be here.
Right.
That's right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
we'll get through the hand waving or whatever, you know, I mean, whatever it does take, but I mean, half the time I don't, because when I think of something to say, when somebody's out there, I think of it by then, by the time I got my damn hand up and whatever, I probably forgot what I was gonna say anyways. I speak it when I know it, when I got it on my mind. And,
I've never seen a select board having to raise their hand.
but I mean, it doesn't matter, I can see it when there's a, you know, if there's a crowd and everybody, all of a sudden there's a dozen people speaking and stuff, I can see that, you know? But I mean, for the most part, it goes on pretty good. But I think, you know, we'll just get over this and get going with the meetings and, but I think it is good that we're asking a lot of questions. I mean, you know, there's a lot of things went on with Steve and them tonight that got answered and, you know, it's just like when I first got on here for the first 2 years, I thought we owned the goddamn Union Hall. You know, and I said one time, I said, I thought we all as a board should go around to all our buildings throughout the town. Then didn't come find out we didn't even own that one.
Right.
The Williamsville Hall. And I said, actually, the way town meeting looked over there this year and the way they've got things fixed up with the heat and everything, I wouldn't mind they had it there every damn year, you know? Just one building, that's it.
Don't bring that up.
No, but I mean, you know, a lot of people that, you know, it's like 1 year there, they wanted to keep it in Union Hall and we wanted to go down to the grade school with it, you know? And everybody said, oh, we want to keep it the old, we like the old building. Well, the ones that all spoke out over there that night, that day, don't even come to town meeting anymore.
Well, it's been on Front Porch where people have wanted to maybe even go to the firehouse because of it's easier to get into and
Well, I said the school.
actually moving the meeting to Saturdays.
Yeah, I
Right.
think,
But I think, you know, like I said, we just get through this other fire, whatever. Everybody works out the differences, let's get on with business and be done with it. Tom's got his hand up.
Mary.
yes,
Yes, just like-
I just wondered if the bids for the equipment were open to the public to see.
Yes,
Are
they
there
were.
copies of them anywhere?
no.
No.
No, what we did was we opened them up, we're gonna go through them and just make sure they're all comparable. And then we're gonna go from there to see what we are gonna do, because like I said, I thought if it is a purchase instead of a rental, we should purchase it because it looks like the rent, you're paying a lot of interest. And I think the town would be smarter just if they're gonna buy it, go out and get the money and borrow it and you'll save thousands of dollars.
Jay took the bids
Yeah.
and he's gonna go through them during the week and he'll report back at our next select board meeting, which is going to be on April 15th.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we finished with the old business and we don't have any correspondence.
No,
Okay, so I think that's the,
there's just 3 pay orders.
yeah, so we have completed the evening tonight. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a good, safe week, and we'll be back soon. Thank you.